Willie, I came across the Stevenson name as being a very important name in English uh, CIA type work. Are you familiar with an ancestor of yours that was involved in that? His name was William, not Willie, not like your name.
I kind of miss what you were saying. Well,
Very important Stevenson name. I think William Stevenson was involved in, I don't know if he was, I think he was British, but he was in the British equivalent of the CIA and was a very important guy there many years ago. I don't know if he was one of your ancestors or not, but if so, you ought to look him up.
I don't think so. My family did a little bit of a family tree back for until the mid 1800s, and I never saw anybody like that. But I was basically named after my mother's side, which is a Devaney.
And as Pat posted in the chat, it's what I had mentioned to Dan, is does seem to be a glitch in Zoom that if anybody changes the transcript captioning language, it changes it for everybody, which I don't think it ought to, but it does.
Hey, Miriam, while we got a minute, I went down to the post office and checked on the price of PO boxes. And at least in this post office in Pacific Beach, the only price they have is $200 a year, which we're paying. By the way, the check had not cleared yet, and so our box was shut down, but I got to it anyway. But I tried to say, gee, online it says they have boxes for $5 a month. He said, well, we don't have that. So I don't know what's going on. But 200 seems outrageous.
Miriam, could you unmute your microphone so we could hear you?
The check was supposed to arrive on the 4th, I think.
Okay, well, that's probably, I don't know. Anyway,
Well,
it's up
let's hope
yesterday. It had not cleared, but
yeah,
I
okay.
didn't have a problem.
All right, well, let's hope it got there and that it's handled correctly. But you let them know that the check was in the mail.
Yeah, okay. That's what I told them. Interesting. Afterward, a guy out in the parking lot came up to me and he said, I heard you were having a problem with the PO box, and do you want me to pay for it? And I said, I don't think you want to. It's $200. He said, that's okay. I don't care. I said, thanks anyway, but no thanks. So he was doing his Christian duty, I believe.
Random acts of kindness.
Yeah.
Or the
$200
prelude
sounds
to a
little
scam.
expensive to me for an act of kindness. Maybe for $2 I would do it.
Another 2 or 3 minutes and I'll turn this over to Don. See if we get a couple of more participants.
I haven't seen David McCall. Is he out of town or something? Normally he's on here.
I've seen him this week on another Zoom meeting I'm in. So he's in the area.
He wasn't on last week either, so I was a little concerned.
Well, I trust he'll be here next week, which is the board meeting.
Ray, what's going on at your house?
Who are you addressing?
Ray, look at all the construction behind him. Ray, can you hear me? You have to
Did-
unmute yourself.
I held a space bar down and it didn't clear. We've got some major roof issues.
Oh,
And
Ooh,
it's, we're hopeful in the next week or two to finally get them resolved. But it's very expensive. We had to replace the beam that holds the two halves of the mobile home together, and they had a difficult time finding a contractor that could do that particular job. But we're hanging in there.
wow.
with this kind of weather, that's not a problem that could be fun.
No, and we've experienced a little of that.
Were your roof issues caused by the weather?
Say it again?
Were your roof issues caused by the bad weather?
No, they're caused by a bad roof.
Well, we're up to 20 people. I think I will mute everyone and then Don can unmute himself and begin.
Good morning. In several of the meetings that we've had, there's been questions associated with the cloud, questions associated with photos, that type of thing. And I thought I'd put together a little presentation associated with two issues. One is a smartphone, and the other is the service called Google Photos, or the app called Google Photos, that's available on smartphones and on the web at the Google site. Okay, I need to share screen here. Which one do I want to share most? Let's pause this one. We're going to take a look at work. Okay, I want to share my main screen, I guess, so I will do that. Pick this one here and share it. I assume you're not seeing your screen, you're seeing my screen or something like that.
We are seeing your screen.
All right, thank you. Okay. This particular first piece is related to your phone, be it Android or Apple or whatever you've got. That is a web-enabled type of a phone. So I'll just play it first. We're going to take a look at working with photos in the cloud today. This involves your smartphone and Google Photos. Let's take a look first at the smartphone portions of this. As you can see on one of my pages on my phone, I got all my Google apps lined up. Okay, Google Chrome, Google Maps, Google Photos. The one in the middle, it looks like a fan blade. There's Google itself, the search engine, Google Drive, Google Earth, Gmail, Google Calendar. But we're going to concentrate on the one that looks like the fan blade. One that looks like the fan blade has a library of photos and works with your existing photos. This is a library of the photos for some of them that I have on my phone. And you will see up in the top right corner, a little arrowhead and a circle that's spinning. What it's doing right now is collecting all the photos that are on my phone that have not been sent to Google Drive and uploading them to Google Cloud or Google Photos, which is not Google Drive, okay? So that's complete now, and you saw a little check mark. So all these photos down here then are albums associated that I have got online. There's over 14,000 of them. And these are albums that are, the photos are placed in so I can keep track of them and control my photos. I've got photos that I have taken on my phone, photos that I've taken with 35 millimeter cameras, photos from every place you could possibly imagine, lots of slides that I have scanned in, lots of computer scanner kind of photos. And then the easiest way to get photos into a format that you can use, which is the best one I've found is JPEG, is to simply take a picture of them with your own phone. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a little while. Okay, I'm going to call up Google now on the web. And this is my a Google page here. Let me get this, if I can get our screen of people out of the way. Maybe that will slide around somewhere. There it slides. Okay. This is a simple Google, initial page. You want to make sure that you're at the correct Google account. That's one caveat that I'm putting on here. And this particular one happens to be the account where I'm storing all those photos. Then this little matrix here is the one that shows all the Google apps. And we've talked about this several times. Here's that fan blade all over again. This is on my laptop computer, or actually it's on the web. It's at the Google site in their apps menu. Okay. Now, another caveat is I'm going to make some mistakes here. Okay. But because of the way I've chosen to do this next part is not pre-recorded, it's live. All right, so I'm going to click on Google Photos. This will take me to the web with Google Photos, okay? And there's a bunch of photos on there here, and there are a bunch of them in albums. I don't know, I hope you can see this down here where it says Family 2024, etc.
Yes.
One of them says SCG, and that's some of our stuff from our, I put this on here just mainly for a demo that it's us, okay? This is a little gadget right here from Walmart for 25 bucks you can get that'll do slides. This gadget right here is much, much better, but costs a lot more, but it's from Kodak. It's the slickest thing, slicker than sliced bread, the way that thing works to do your photos. This is a company that you might want to keep in mind or search on YouTube for. It has a 6-minute and 27-second video. I'm sure it's got a lot more, but that will help you tremendously associated with what our subject here this morning. I've got photos from underwater cameras. This is my granddaughter in 2015. Okay, as a situation, all right. And then I'm going to go back up here or click on this X and go, or dash, arrow, go back a layer, okay. And down here, I'm going to put my initials. Okay, this shows you that I've got photos that I have original sourced came to Google from my iPad. photo shots from my iPad. I took several thousands of picture shots with my iPad. I made a photo jig where I could stick the photo in the cheap little photo jig that I made. That's just a device to hold something still when I used it originally for cutting on a saw, but it works great for holding pictures to take. This is slides. I actually individually, before these things I just showed you here, years before, I took my slide protector apart, all the slides, and scanned every one of them with a slide. And then there's some scans. That's my desktop scanner. So the point is that you can do this from whatever you want. Okay, I'm going to go into, let's see, here's some slides. I'll go to slide. This is my album called Slides. It's got several hundred pictures of it. This photo here was taken with a buddy of mine from 1965. This is my 54-year-old daughter now. Okay, this is the time frame that it was taken in. If you go to any one of these photos and you go to here, you can see the data about that photo. This is a current picture of this little girl, or fairly current picture of this little girl. It'll tell you when it was taken. This particular picture was put online, okay, and what the file name is, and it'll give you a description. So here's how you can identify. This is my daughter, Julie, whose name is now Matthew. And she is in Tucson. Lives in Tucson. And anyway, that gives you one picture. And I can go to the next picture. There's my buddy, Tim Browsey. Surfed with him for years. He's great. And this is my wife of several years ago. And there's a little girl again. But the point is that you have a description area here. You have an album, and you can assign this person to a different album. Okay, so you can come up here to this little dots, and you can click on that, and it'll say add to album. All right. Now I'm going to scroll down until I get an album. Here, she's got nothing to do with SCG, but I'm just putting her in that album. Now, the reason I did that is you can tell from this that you can have one photo in many albums. All right. So most of the pictures of this little girl, who's, as I say now, 54, are scattered around several items. Okay, several albums. All right. And I want to go back here, and I'm going to go up to the top here, and I'm going to put in, click here, and this is a picture of some of the people. I got lots of people, but this is that same girl. That's my daughter. These are all of the albums that my daughter is in. Love her dearly. Okay. Here's her daughter surfing, and a bunch of surfing videos, mainly videos and so forth. All right. Now this is the trip to Disneyland in 2015. So you've seen several things here. One is that you can store things in albums. Two is that you can title stuff that are in the albums, each photo. Three is that you can assign photos to many albums. Four is that you can get a hold of where somebody is simply by clicking on their face, their picture. All right, so it allows you, and there's me as in the middle of COVID, when I tried to see how my beard was doing. Been decades since I'd grown one. All right, here's a shot that I think that all of you should consider doing. When COVID hit, I decided that we could no longer take family pictures, so let's just do it the modern way. And here's all of us, one daughter and family, that's the gal, another daughter and family, and my wife and I down here in 2020. Okay, and I've been doing this every year for 5 years. This little son of a gun has changed a lot. He's now 5 years old, and I've got several pictures of him to do that in an album called Collages. Okay. Here's some family pictures of way back. Okay, these came from prints. I went in and took a picture. The easiest way to capture your pictures, the ones in the shoebox and all that stuff, is to make a little contraption like a paper picture frame that will hold the frame in place, and take your take your iPad or your iPhone or whatever you got that's going to be able to run Google Photos. That's the key. And that device has to be logged into the same Google account, same Gmail account that you've chosen to use your main storage vessel for storing your photos. And then you can push them upline with no problem at all. Okay, so here's our family gold mine here. Okay, they live in Arizona. And I'm going to go back on this. I have lots of fun on these kinds of things because of the fact that it allows me to have some control over things. That is a much quicker than I thought it was going to take presentation, and I will now open this up. If anybody wants to ask any questions, I'll do my best to answer them, and why I selected Google Photos as a source. Floor is open.
Don, there is a post in the chat if you want to read that one and respond to it.
Let me see if I can get, now I got my pictures down and covering up my chat stuff. Move it out of the way. There is okay. Well, Saul, I'm having trouble with Zoom. There it is, right in front of me. It's in another place. It's at the top instead of the bottom. How does the quality compare when you photograph a photo versus scanning it at high resolution settings? Very good question. And I'll go a layer deeper than that. In Google Photos, they give away 15 gigabytes of storage, okay? After that, they charge you a very small amount for storing them. That can last for 10,000 photos like mine did, or it can be eaten up with 1,000 photos, depending upon the resolution of what you send to Google. If you are a photographer like my son-in-law in Houston, who produces a photo that's several gigs by each photo with his marvelous camera system, and he's a very good photographer, but he eats up space like crazy, okay, because of the format. So if you're doing just a JPEG, it allows you to control that. Now, JPEGs on here in Google, it will do an automatic sizing thing or leave them in their native format. If you choose leaving them in their native form, it will eat up a lot of storage, but still it stores thousands of them. If you choose to let it automatically condense and manipulate your photos for you to the best storage size, which I do, it will come up with some pretty good images. Here, down here is, this is just this Easter Sunday, just last Sunday, okay? That's an iPhone photo. That's pretty decent, that Google has compressed and stored it in a small form. You can count the petals on the flowers. Okay, now the question was associated with the scanner. Well, I assume you're talking about a flatbed scanner or a scanner in a multifunction device. The scanning software that drives your multifunction device, one of the things it has in it is a setting. I set photos that I want to get real clear images on to, I don't know, 600 bits, or if you do much more than that, it takes too long to scan the darn things. But you can scan them in and they'll look respectable. The best thing, of course, is to take it with a really nice high resolution camera. However, you generally get them from all sources, including old shoe boxes you got laying around the home. And so it varies, okay? That's the honest answer. It varies depending on your scanner setting, depending on your quality of the scanner you're using. If you get one of these scanners that I was showing you that scan slides, those do a pretty doggone good job. And you can press a button when you get the one that you like. Don't know if that answers your question. Is there any?
David had his virtual hand up. I think he was next.
Hi, David.
All right, yes. One of the things that I have done with Google Photos when I go on a trip is I will set it up so that my wife or my brother or law and everything can basically it's called sharing, and that way whenever I take some pictures and they get uploaded to Google Photos, then they can see them without me having to send them to them and without having to make extra copies of things. And so I thought that was one of the other things that I thought was fairly nice about Google is, if the person that you're wanting to share them with has a Google account, you can just add them on as a person that can share a particular album or however much you want.
Yes, I agree. I've used that. I also store photos in Apple stuff because our family uses Apple iCloud, Apple Photos sharing, but I use Google Photos like you're saying. And for some of the bigger stuff, it's much better than Apple. Like my son-in-law posts my granddaughter's basketball games on there in Google. I couldn't do that, but he stores them in Google Drive anyway. David's correct, and you can generate a link. You can click on an album, click on the 3 dots, they're standing there, generate a link, put that link in an email and send it to anybody in the world. And it'll keep updating it. It depends on when that they go into the link on Monday. They see what's there Monday. If by Friday, if you got a lot more of them, you can see the original ones and that one there. So
I find it saves a lot of trying to send them to this person and that person, the other person. You just sort of put them on the list for that particular album, and then whatever is in there they can see.
yes, don't email photos. If you do, you're going to have to email a real low resolution thing, or clog up your mailbox, or clog up the recipient stuff. It's just, if you've got a phone, you can transfer phones very fast. If it's an Apple phone by,
airdropping.
AirDrop is great. It handles, but I chose today just to focus on Google Photos and from the phone app side and from the website. Now, you don't have to use a computer to mess with Google Photos. And I do because I like it better. I like my keyboard. I like to be able to type in stuff well. Other people were talking about hooking up a keyboard to your iPhone. I have no interest in that. I just, use my iPhone as a phone. If I wanted to go to Google and work with it, I zap it to the cloud by just pushing a little fan blade. It's anybody can send it to the cloud.
If I could ask David to clarify one matter.
Yes.
When you're sharing a Google photo album with somebody else, is that because they have a Google account and that album is shared to their Google account?
That's right. You share it from one Google account to another Google account.
Thank you. Barb?
Okay, there I am. Yeah, I have an Android phone, and photos I take with that phone are saved to Google Photos. How do I save pictures that are sent to me with a message on my phone?
Well, what you do when I get a phone that somebody sends it to me, either through the text message or an email, or Apple Cloud, I simply hold my finger on the thing and select save. It goes to my camera roll, and then when I press the fan blade, it bam goes to Google. So if you've got it if I have it in my text message, I will put my finger on the sucker. Well, actually, I just tap it once, because once you tap it one time, you have the ability to control the photo. If you just tap it gently one time, it sets what they call focus in programming. It sets a focus to that photo, and then you can use the pinch method and make it bigger or smaller or whatever you want to do. Okay, but you can also click on the little thing in the iPhone, little things that save it to you're basically what I'm going to call your camera roll. And then the next time I go in my camera roll, like I just did today, when I took a picture of you folks on the phone, I pushed that to Google Photos to the cloud, this picture you're looking at, through my camera roll. Okay, on my phone. You were part of the demo to Google Drive. Right?
Okay, 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 I'll play around with it. I'll figure it out. Thank you.
No, Barbara, if you did it through your desktop computer, if you opened up the Google Photos through Chrome, then on the upper right-hand side, there is an upload button. So you could save your picture to your computer and then find it through the Google program, the Google app, the Photos app, and then upload that picture or any other pictures that you have in your computer that you want to add to Google Photos.
Okay, I would have to download the Google Photos app.
No, well, you have it on your phone. I misspoke. All you need to do is to go to google.com, sign in with your email account. So you has your letter on the upper right-hand side in a colored circle.
Right,
And when you click on the 9 dots that are there, one of those is Photos.
okay,
And then when you open up Photos, there is at the very top on the upper right-hand side, there's a button that says Upload.
okay. Okay, thank you.
All right.
You can also, if you have it on your desktop, just simply drag it and drop it in the photo album. It'll go right up there by itself. There's a lot of ways of getting it there. Google gives you a gob of options.
Okay, okay, thank you.
You can do that with a memory stick. If you got a bunch of photos on a memory stick, just go to Google Photos to the fan blade thing, then the app, like Ross was talking about, open it up, grab a hold of a photo off of your memory stick, slide it to the picture on your screen, and bam, it goes right up. You can do it from the CD if you have photos on a CD. You can do the same thing. Put them on your screen, on one screen, slide them over to your session of Google Photos on your PC and or Apple, and it'll go right up that way too.
Oh,
So-
okay. I've got a lot of old photos I'd like to consolidate, into one area that I can work with.
Yeah, I moved a thing over that I thought might be of interest here. I assume you can see this PDF file that I've got.
Yes.
Okay. So take pictures or video with your smartphone or smart device, or scan the pictures with your smartphone, or scan the pictures with your computer scanner, or scan your pictures with that slide scanner that I showed you, or take a picture of the paper photos with your smartphone or smart device, build a jig. This is just a holder for taking photos. You've looked today at stuff that came from all of these sources in just a short period of time. You can get them with any of these sources. And I have scanned a whole bunch of old Supertone photos. I got stuff back before 1900 that I've got scanned in or brought in. And the easiest way to get those in was just take a picture of my phone and press the fan blade. But I've done all of these many, many times. And here's the trick. Open Google Photos app on your smartphone or tablet or whatever your smart device. Make sure the Google's app is pointing to the Gmail address. If you've got multiple Gmail address, pick the one you want for storing photos. There are some rather painful penalties if you upload it to the wrong one first. And so you pick the Gmail address you want to store your photos at. It'll take it up there. This will move a copy of your photo camera roll to the Google Photos app on your phone. Then when you start the app, it will upload them to the cloud. Does this help you, or does this make any sense?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah.
Okay, then there's another one down here that says on the computer. Start up Chrome. You can use any browser you want, but you'll pay a price if you don't use Chrome. Google has decided that the best way is to keep their applications as a family. All of their apps work better in Chrome than they do with any other browser. I've experienced all kinds of strange maladies when you're using a different browser other than Chrome. And I'm not a Chrome fan, but I've been a Chrome convert because I didn't have a choice, because I wanted to use things like use Google Photos. So I suggest to save some pain that you use the Chrome browser on your computer, log into the Gmail account. That's why I say I highly recommend Chrome for this process. Okay. Select the Google Photos app from the Gmail grid, the 9 dots, the squares at the top, the photos and the videos above, either, etc. Process of loading. This takes some time. If you've got some videos that you've taken on your iPad or on your, the other cameras, especially video you've taken on a different non-Android, non-Apple device, and you've got it on your computer somehow, those take longer to process, but just give it a little bit of time. And then use the drag and drop thing. Just go to your computer, fire up Chrome, click on the 9 squares, select the fan blade. If you've got them on a flash drive, a hard drive, whatever, you just drag and drop. Just grab a hold of it with your left mouse button and slap it in the middle of the album you want, and a zip, it'll go right up there. This process allows you to add, remove, delete pictures and create albums. The title to the album, or title of the album or picture. Okay. Add the picture to multiple items. Okay. Add names and faces of people or animals to the to that photo recognition place. You can edit the picture. You can change the size. You can crop the picture. It's better, I think, to do that first, but if you don't, you can do it on Google. Edit the picture as desired, and you can share the item, share the album. You got at least 15 gigs of free stuff. This is not Google Drive. And if you create a Google Photos file or directory on your Google Drive, you're being led down a path. The Google Photos directory on Google Drive will simply use up drive space for Google Drive and start charging you for that. So Google Photos stores it on a spot that's strictly for Google Photos, and they store either your low resolution images or your high resolution images, or the image format that they use. Store it up there. The cost is very, very minimal. And so I tried to get a little cheat sheet here from the computer side and a cheat sheet from the smartphone side to think about associated with this process. You'll have fun with this process. There are a lot of other apps. There are ones much better than the ones I've chosen.
Don?
Yep.
I think maybe some people here watching this would like to have that file that you are showing so that they could download it themselves. If you will send me a copy of it by email, I'll put the file on our website under events.
Good.
Not a problem. I'll be glad to do that.
Would that not show when we go on our website to look at what we talked about today?
Well, there are two things that will happen. I'm recording this entire session, and that entire session will be put on the website under the tab that says recordings.
Right.
But then this particular document that Don is showing, the bottom, just the bitty bottom of the first page and the second page, I'll get that as a file, and the file will be on the website under events.
Oh, great. Okay.
Which you'll be able to click on and download.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
Anybody that's working with slides, I highly recommend you don't shy away from it, and you do use this gadget. Well, that didn't do what I wanted to. This gadget. Okay. Kodak's our old buddy. It'll take film and or slides. I've used film stuff on scanners from printing companies. That's not a fun experience. It's the best way to describe it. This is the same thing, just a cheaper price. This is on Amazon stuff. And you just push the button here to do your thing with it, capture it. So I thought, but if you're somebody as a Walmart person, I have not used this, but for 25 bucks, and does film, slides, scans, converts here. A lot of us have got stuff 35 millimeter, 135 millimeter. We got negatives. A lot of us have got that kind of stuff. Nowadays it's really simple to do what I did. I did it in the rock and sledgehammer days. Okay, this is a $25 thing that I'd spent hundreds of hours on to try and duplicate what this thing does. And this thing does.
Don, have you used the Kodak one?
No, I have not. I have used a lot of Kodak products, but this is something I just found. I read about it. I watched videos of it on YouTube, and so I haven't used the Kodak one. I have done all this with much more arcane methods.
Okay, I just was going to ask you more questions, but since you haven't used it, I won't.
Yeah, if it is on YouTube. And it is on Amazon. If you got an Amazon account, you can go to this thing and get vendor reviews and see a lot of stuff about it.
So there's a YouTube video that will show you how to use this?
Yeah, you're buying something on Amazon. There's a series of pictures on the side and all that. So it's a typical Amazon product, and you can generally, some of them you can click on and you can get a video of. And this one, I believe you can.
Yeah.
And you can get a more, well, I showed, this company here, they've got this 6.27 minute video. And I believe then they use several other devices, and possibly I think they use the Amazon one also, or the Kodak one also. This is worthwhile. There's lots of resources for you, is what I'm saying. Like Hank is a very big fan of YouTube, and this is an area that YouTube does well at. It has some things that will save you a lot of time and effort.
And it's very entertaining. When you have nothing else to do, you just go to the youtube.com and start putting interesting phrases into the search box.
Scanning photos, scanning slides.
Yeah.
And so, but you can do it the harder way. You don't want to know how I did it the harder way. You don't want to waste the rest of your life scanning slides. But it's thank you for letting me show you this effort today.
Would you like me to stop your screen sharing for you?
Sure.
There we are. Okay. I think we'll start with, I'll solicit questions for Don, and then we'll go to Q&A after that. Dan.
Yes, this is not a question, but I think we have a slide scanner in one of those cages that Wesley Palms that belongs to the SCG&E group. I don't don't know if anyone's seen that in the last years or so, but as I remember it, we did have a slide scanner that was available for loan.
I think Will volunteered to go and see whether our cage is still there one of these days. Is Will still with us?
He is.
Well, I hope this was of interest to you folks. I assumed it would be from things I've heard, and I don't want to waste your time with my ideas if it isn't, but let me know.
Yeah, thank you, Raymond. There's a lot of tools there that I realize I should be using, and I've known that they existed, but you really helped me out on trying to find tools. But I do use Google Photos a lot and do use folders. Thank you for that.
And on the subject of were you interested, which sort of I hear Don kind of asking, on each of the invitation messages that I send out, there's a place where you can click and it will bring up an evaluation form. And you can say you loved Don's presentation or you hated it, and you can submit that anonymously, I believe.
Email is never anonymous.
Okay, I think we're going to shift to Q&A. And I have one, as a matter of fact. So I'll put my hand up and I will ask my question. Can someone explain how I can stop shifting away from Google and back to, I think it's Yahoo, as the new tab box that comes up? Let me show you what I'm talking about. If I share my screen and I pick, let's see. Let's see if, yeah, I'm sharing. And if I move this somewhere and click this new tab box up here, can you all see what I'm doing?
Yes.
Can you
Yes.
see my cursor with up next to the little X, or that's not an X, it's a plus sign.
We can.
Okay, if I click that, I get this, and I'm not sure what that is.
Okay,
But it's not Google. Now, if I type in here google.com and hit enter, whoops.
It was just mistyped, but you could say yes, where the yes is there.
Yeah, now I have a Google search page, and I can put something in here, and let me get rid of these guys here.
I have an answer for you when you are ready, sir.
Yeah. And and I really like this because it puts up what Don called I forget what he called it, a matrix. I call it the tic-tac-toe box.
9 dots.
Yeah. And when you click on those 9 dots, you get Google's menu, including photos here. And going on down to all sorts of things, and then eventually to more from Google. You get everything that Google has to offer. So I would like to have, when I click on this tab, I would like to have Google, but I'm back to whatever I've got here.
All right. So are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, you okay?
Who's saying what?
This is Ross.
Thank you, Ross.
Okay. First of all, if you look to the right of the star in the search box,
Yeah.
Well, 2 icons to the right. It says tiny URL.
Yep.
You've installed that.
Yes.
Okay. And also McAfee is there. Is that two that you want to have? Left is the McAfee. So you've installed the McAfee web browser advisor, and it will interfere with you getting to web pages that it doesn't like. I don't use that, so I would remove it. But also now to get rid of you have to set the default search. And you do that through the 3 dots on the upper right-hand side. There you go. Click on there. Go to settings.
Down here at the bottom.
There you go.
Okay. And then
scroll down.
wait a minute, I gotta get here. I think it's over here somewhere.
Yes.
Well, it's third from the bottom. You've moved. It's where you need to go back up. I believe you've gone down too far, sir. Go
Okay,
back up.
Back
Go
up.
back up. Okay, so search engine is on the lower left-hand side next to the magnifying glass.
Yeah.
There you go. Click on that. Okay, so there's where it shows you that you have Search Synergy as the default browser.
That's
So you click on the down arrow right there.
and go to Google.
Right.
Hey, that's
Okay.
what I wanted. Now wait, let's go back.
Well,
Tell me where I was. I'm in search engine.
you're in
That's
settings
what I want.
/ search engine.
So when I click on search engine, now I have it set for Google.
Right.
And now I should be able to close.
Okay,
settings.
before you go away, sir.
Yes.
Okay, go down to where it says Manage Search Engines and Site Search.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead and scroll down. Here are all of the search engines that you have installed in the browser.
Fascinating.
Okay, so I would get rid of all of well, you need to get rid of the ones that you don't want to have
Yeah.
in there in the search. And I would specifically get rid of the last one, McAfee. Yandex, I don't know who that is.
Goodness. Well, I have set it now so that my search engine should be Google. So if I click up here now, I get Google.
Right.
I'm happy.
Okay.
I'm happy. I'm going to quit while I'm ahead. Thank you
Well,
very much, Ross.
the other thing that I always do when we end up with a search being hijacked to me is I want to run Malwarebytes to make sure that it's gotten rid of anything that you happen to inadvertently install.
Yeah. Malwarebytes pops up for me at least every couple of days, and I run it regularly.
Okay, good. Well, then
I don't have the pay kind that it runs automatically, but I do run it regularly.
I do. That's the only antivirus as such that I pay for. Is the paid version of Malwarebytes. I use Microsoft Windows Defender as antivirus, and then back that up with the Malwarebytes. And the reason I do that is because if somebody calls and says they have a problem with the virus, the first program I run is Malwarebytes on their computers. Mac, PC, phone, tablet, I don't care. I run Malwarebytes on it. So on my computer, I choose to pay them the $25 per year, I think it is, to have it so it scans every day. Because if there's something that's come in on Tuesday and it scans for me on Wednesday morning with a new updated version of the list of malware, then that's what I want. And also when you go to scan, you need to make sure that with the one that you install on your computer that's free and it's very good and works very well, but it doesn't have the latest list of malware. You have to make sure it gets updated. Then do your scan.
Good advice. Alice.
This is kind of for Ross, but I was having trouble with my TV, which I rarely watch, but my kids are having to stay with me due to flooding situations. But Anyway, I ordered a new modem from AT&T. Do you have any idea how often they upgrade their modems? The one I have right now is probably 3, 4, maybe 5 years old. So would the new one be worth installing?
If they've sent one to you, yes, I would go ahead and install it, and it's relatively easy to install. Most of the companies, when they send you a modem like that, have a procedure to go through that's pretty straightforward. The worst is that you have to find what's called the MAC address on the modem. And then when you're on the call to tech support, you tell them my MAC address is, and then they associate that modem with your account. And then
And you have to do that with AT&T?
you'll do that with anybody. And yes, I would do that. The modems do, especially with AT&T, when you're running off of the 2 wires, the wire and the ground, that's not the most reliable service for getting signal to you. And yes, that's the first thing. And I would say anything over 3 years, I would get a new one.
Okay, good. Thanks you.
And I would say, if they're offering you one, take it.
Do they check and see? They did offer him. It's gonna be here soon, so they must have figured out that I needed a new one.
That, or if you call them and say, things are too slow, I'm having dropouts, whatever your issues are, if they go in and look and see that it's a couple years old, that's one of the first things they're going to do.
Yeah,
And-
they were pretty good. I was fortunate to get somebody that knew what they were doing, so that's good. So I'll just install the new one. Thank you very much.
Right.
Sometimes AT&T charges you $10 a month for the modem.
If they're going to do that either way, whether you get a new one or have an old one.
That's exactly right.
Well, they have discontinued my charge. I don't know why, but we did come to an agreement that discontinued the charge. And I'm afraid if I replace it, they'd probably reinstate the charge.
Yeah.
I don't see any hands. I'm going to bring up or re-bring up a subject, and that is because I think many of us use Chrome, and I think it's worthwhile to point out the settings that Ross took me to when I wanted to change what I get for a new tab. And I'm going to share my screen and show you my Chrome. And you'll notice that I have a huge number of tabs up here that are open. And in fact, I have even more, because all of these little red boxes with letters in them are places to store more tabs. There's a bunch. Here's another bunch. There's another bunch. There's another bunch, etc. And one of the things that this leads me to is in settings, if you go here, and then as he said, you scroll down to settings, which is at the bottom. Then you come over, let me get rid of this, or over here, and here are all the things you can set in settings. And he took me down to search engine, and that's what fixed my wayward tab, new tab. But there's one other thing that's down here that says on startup. I suggest that you all look at what you have set there. For me, if I shut down Chrome right now, completely shut it down and start it again, I do not come to the first one, which would mean I'd open just the new tab page. All of these tabs up here are actually open and running. My email program, which is AOL, mail.aol.com, that's running. My calendar is running here. and all of these other things that are running. And every now and then I go through here and shut them down. But my point is that my settings say on startup, continue where you left off, which means that if my computer shuts down completely and I turn it back on and go to Google Chrome, I will pull up wherever I was with all the other tabs up here running. Now, the other one is I could open a specific page or set of pages, and right now, if I click this one, it'll show you which ones that will run. Here are all the ones. Here are all the ones that you're seeing up here. They're listed individually. But I don't want that. I want continue where you left off. And I suggest that each of you that uses Chrome check and see what you have set here on startup, what will happen. End of sermon.
Okay, before you go away, sir,
Yes, sir.
would you click on the settings, 3 lines?
Here?
Right,
Sure.
click on that and click on system,
Mm-hmm.
3rd from the bottom, I think it is. Oops.
Where was I? System. Yes, system.
Okay, so the first line, if you read that, there says continuing running background apps even when Google is closed.
Aha.
And you've got that turned off, which is a good thing. So if you want it to be snap, quicker for Google, then you can turn that on and it will. So if there's a web page that uses a lot of system performance, it's always going to be using that system performance because that slide is right there. The next one down is to graphics acceleration when available. That can cause problems also. So if people are having trouble getting web pages to work right for them, then I turn both of those off just like the way yours is. By default, they're mostly turned on.
Interesting. I never looked at this before. I just got lucky.
Okay.
I'm doing what Ross suggests without knowing it.
And you bring up the task manager also before you leave your Chrome open. So just minimize this and then go to your desktop and bring up the task manager through Control-Alt-Delete. That's not in,
yeah. Okay, sure. Control-Alt-Delete.
but we're not gonna. You're gonna have to.
Here we
show it.
go. All right, are you seeing it? It's
No,
coming.
you'll have to stop sharing and reshare your entire desktop.
Okay, hold on. Stop sharing. All right, now share again.
But share the whole desktop.
Will. Yeah, here we go. I'm going to share. I'm just going to share Task Manager, which I started. Here you go. You see it?
Okay. Can you see where it says Google Chrome and you have 27? You have a number of Google Chromes there on this task manager, but the first one is 28 pages as such open, and it's using 1.2 gig of memory and 2.5, it's using a fair amount of disk space sometimes, not all the time.
Yeah, I look at this. If things seem to be getting screwed up, I go here and look. And if I'm at 75% or thereabouts and not a heck of a lot more, I seem to be all right.
Right. So it's just something to look at with the number of tabs that you choose to run, and everybody uses their computer in a different way, but it shows you all the different Google Chromes that are running in the computer and how much memory is being used.
Yep.
by all the different ones that are there, all those tabs and any web
And-
pages that, it can use a lot. So when I go in and shut those down, then we get the memory back and the system starts to then perform. Newer systems with more RAM, not so much a problem. Older systems with limited RAM and not a solid state drive makes a huge difference. It's really slow in that case.
And you can sort here.
Yeah.
By the CPU use.
Right.
Or memory use.
Now, if you let one more while we're here and we'll get off of this, click on startup for me, please, at the top bar where you're in processes now and go across to the right where it says startup.
Wait a minute, where?
Left-hand
Tabs.
side says, then it says processes, go up right there. Then go to startup to the right. Oop, you've gone
Okay,
to,
hold on. I've got, there we go. Yes. I had a box in front of it.
okay, here are all of the things that get turned on when your computer starts.
And
They're
that's,
enabled.
and that's a
They're
lot.
Right. So if we go down a bit, you can see you have McAfee turned on. Scroll down, scroll down.
Yeah.
There you go. McAfee
Okay.
security scanner. I would disable that. I don't care for the product. So
Hmm.
if you right click on it and say disable, it didn't remove it. It just don't start it up when I open up reopen my computer. Disable. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
But if
And
there
Nick-
are things that you don't use, like, do you use the Microsoft Notes?
No, never heard of it.
Well, if you look at the bottom of the screen, it says Microsoft OneNote, excuse me. It's enabled. It's a database. It's a legitimate program, and I have a lot of customers that really like it. But if you don't use it, there's no reason for it to be turned on.
What is it?
It's a scratch pad that you can put information in there and then search for that information later. It's just a freeform notepad.
I guess
Well-
I could spend the day in here.
Yeah.
Well, if we started with
Sort by-
performance under Chrome, and this is what I just wanted to say. Here's the next place that I go in and look. I said, let me show me
Mhm.
all the things that are running in the computer.
Yeah, if you sort by status, then you can have a look at the list of everything that's enabled and,
Yep,
it's.
that's what I'm
it's-
doing right now.
It's it's fairly safe if you want to disable something.
Right.
Because if you find out that something that you wanted doesn't work, then turn it back on. You're not uninstalling it or anything. You're just not having it turn on when you start the computer. It'll make your computer start up a lot quicker and be more responsive when you first turn it on.
I turn off the mic. I use Microsoft Edge occasionally, not very often, but I don't think it needs to be loaded every time I start Windows up. So I disable that.
And you notice it says startup impact is high. That means it's going to, slow your computer when it first tries to start.
Right.
So if you disable that, it'll have no impact until you try to run Edge, and then you get the hit for loading it up.
Fascinating. Okay, let me see. I'm going to stop sharing and
There are several
got a
people
bunch
with
of
hands.
hands. Mr. Raymond.
I was wondering if you use bookmarks in your Chrome, or if you use tabs as if they were bookmarks.
Yes.
Okay.
All of those things, I think all of those things up at the top are bookmarks. Hold on, let me go back to
Bookmark bar is usually just underneath the.
Right. He had a
main-
bookmark bar there.
here we go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, here is my bookmark bar. Let me get rid of some of these. And I have all sorts of things. I have things for here's stuff for the seniors computer group.
Right.
here are my bookmarks for the seniors computer group. I can click here to sign in when I change things on our website, or I can just go to the website itself. Over here, this goes on. It starts over here, Craigslist and Free Cycle. This was for Singing Valentines when I was running Singing Valentines for the barbershop chorus. This was for my vacation rental on Kauai. And these were all the things that all the bookmarks places that I would go because of that vacation rental on Kauai. And of course, it's not a vacation rental anymore. I could take that out of there. And when we get past here, we go and start down here. And for medical and dental, here's how I get to my doctor, and here's how I get to prescriptions and various other things from, here's where I get to things for my real estate properties. So I am a super user of bookmarks and book.
Hank, what are the things way at the top of the screen that say QQQ, QQX?
You showed us that earlier.
Those are
tab groups.
Yeah, these are groups. If you want, for example, supposing I want to put these three things that are currently running. This is the Castle Hospital telephone number. This is more about Castle Hospital. Let's say those two I want to put in a new group called Med. I right-click on this while it's running. I come down to Add Tab to Group, and I click New Group, and I title this new group capital M, capital E, capital D. And now I type Enter, and that group has one item in it. And if I want to put this other item in it, I drag it left until it shows that it is now. See, both of these are now in the group, either this one.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to leave and reboot, but so I missed that, but I'll see it on there when I look at the program again. So thanks anyway.
Okay. So before we go off of your Chrome here,
yes,
Hank, would you click on your photo on the upper right that shows you how you're logged into Chrome? Go up.
Yes, right here.
Right. Okay, so it shows the person's name, email address, all those things as far as when we want to find out what email address is being used right now for your Google account that you're signed in on. And that would go back up one, and it says sync is on. That means all of your tabs, all of your passwords, all your settings as such for Chrome are being synchronized between your computer and your Google account online. So if you sign in on a different computer or you have to reset up your computer, as soon as you sign in on your account here, then it will synchronize all the information back to your Chrome browser. You haven't lost it. And you don't have to back up and restore it in any other way. It does sync right here, which is very helpful when setting up a new computer for somebody.
Thank you. Let's see what this does. Other profiles.
Well, so you can have other profiles available. So if you want to share your computer with somebody else, or you have, say, 2 email addresses that you use for different things at Google, you set up a separate profile. And when you sign in on that profile, then you get those tabs, passwords, whatever it is that you want to have for that second profile. Right now, you have just guest. You don't have any other profiles created. That's fine.
I have one for the seniors computer group. How come I'm not seeing it?
Okay, you have an email address for Google for you have a second profile at Google for the senior computer group?
Yes.
Okay, then you click on add.
No, this has me setting up a new one. There's
No,
one that
no, it's not setting up a new one. It's setting up a new profile for Chrome on this computer. And then when you open up Chrome, it will then give you that option to say, I want to use option profile 1 or profile 2.
I'm looking for the one that, well, for example, let's see.
Well, you don't have it set up here on this version, this Chrome.
I think I do. Hold on. If I go to the seniors computer group and go to sign in to our website.
That's GoDaddy.
Oh, that's GoDaddy.
That's not Chrome.
There's my.
Right.
That's Hank D from SCG for our website. Okay.
Yes.
Forget that.
Don, did your question get answered?
Yes, it did, and I'm amazed.
Thank you.
Here's the one I'm talking about. Manager. Let's start over again. We'll go to my Google or a Google page and click on the face for that one. And then I see
that's the same. Yeah, you'll have that anywhere on a Google. You're right. And then you can switch to those other accounts. You're correct.
Yeah, here's my Google account. And here's the Senior Computer Group Google account, which has an SCGSD1 at gmail.com email address. So I could shift to that. And now, for example, I have a whole set of Google Drive. Where are we? Google. Yeah,
Right down the bottom, right there.
Here's a seniors computer group Google Drive. And we have, that's where I keep things like the board and business meeting minutes, which David puts out every week. And I put it in here and then put a link to it on our website from a link here, board and business meetings. And this is also where I put recordings. I think I do. No, I think those are, yeah, some of them are here, but others are on YouTube and I'll link to there. All right, enough of my rambling. I'll stop sharing.
I'm not sure who was really next. Whoever it was, would you speak up?
I'm next. My hand is up at the top of the top left of the page. I found that very interesting on the Chrome setting. And I must admit I was distracted because I tried to do that. And I could not find how to get to Chrome settings in Chrome. Can you talk me through that, or do I need to open up or share my screen?
Did you start at the 3 dots, Stan?
Let me share my screen. I think I want to do that for several people here.
We
probably.
should look at, I think that looking at Stanley's is better because he's the one that's having the question.
Agreed.
All right, Stanley, can you share your screen showing your Chrome browser?
You're muted, Stan.
Okay.
That's your
desktop. Am I talking now?
Yes,
you are. We can hear you, but we're seeing the desktop and not your Google Chrome web browser.
All right, so here I'm going to open Chrome.
There you go.
There you go.
And then right next to your picture on the second line, there's 3 dots.
Go up.
Up.
Right under the X. There we go.
Perhaps we could just have Ross navigate.
Okay, if you scroll down, can you find settings? There you go, second from the bottom. And if you want to, what we were talking about to begin with Hank was search engine. So on the left-hand side, right in the center, click on search engine. Okay, so right now your default search is Google, which is what we set Hank's to.
So Stan, you're muted on your microphone, so we cannot hear you.
I'm asking Stan to unmute himself.
I think he's working on it.
Did that work?
Now we
Yes.
can hear you.
All right. Now I gotta find where I was. Okay, here I
So
am.
did that answer your question, Stan?
Yes, it did. That it did answer. I didn't scroll down when I hit the three dots. I forgot to scroll down, and here is settings way down here.
Yeah.
All right, my apologies. You answered my question.
If
So-
I were designing Chrome, I think I'd put settings at the top instead of the bottom.
On settings or how you get into it, Microsoft wants you to use Edge and will push Edge over as the default browsing program. And the way you will know that particularly is when you look to the right-hand side, if you have three vertical dots, it's Chrome, it's Edge. You have a horizontal, that's Chrome. And we can set that in the settings to say my default browser is in Windows. But right now, your default browser looks to be Chrome.
Yes. I occasionally go to Edge, and I always get that urge to transfer. It's not my urge, it's Microsoft's urge to transfer, but I resist the impulse.
I use Edge all the time. I use all the browsers all the time. Chrome has been my preferred browser, but you don't have to say I'm only going to use X and never use Y.
Okay, is there anything else I should look at in my settings while I have the wizards here?
You might look at extensions at the very bottom. Okay, so right now you don't have any.
Oh, okay, that's
Oh,
good,
no,
I
shouldn't
guess.
say that. There's a safety check. So it says, here's what they find. Is you've got one for the Chrome Web Store, and the other one is for Manuals Directory, new tab. Those look fine, but you can find if your Edge is starting to, your browser is starting to act funny, then you can go into here to remove the ones that are there. Go ahead and scroll down the page. There you go. There's the extensions. Keep on going. Those are the ones that are there. And you can remove those as you choose.
There's duck, go
Or you
with.
can just turn them off and leave them there, right?
Well, you don't
Yeah.
have to use them, but yeah, they're there. That's not this is in Edge, not or Chrome, I should say. This is not starting up the computer. This is so the McAfee is still going to be there in this case, but this is an extension that will help you get to these applications.
Okay, should this be on Google Docs offline? I don't recall using this.
Well, so that again will help you keep a copy of the documents that you have at Google Docs on your computer.
Like I say, I don't remember using Google Docs.
Then turn it
So
off.
right, okay. All right. Everything else is off, so it's not doing any damage being off. All right, thank you. I think that unless Ross has any other observations for improvement.
Not right now. That is looking good, sir.
Thank you very much.
I think I was next.
Yes, you are next. I haven't lowered my hand yet.
Okay. Ross, just as the quickest question for you, I think. Do you use the program Ease?
Ease US Toto Backup?
Right.
Yes.
So that's good to have. Okay, good. Thank you.
But
That's all
I use I pay for the version that I use for workstation backup. And then I usually if I've used it for more than a year and I have to pay for it again, then I'll buy the lifetime license. But I use that on my office servers to back up there and workstations to back up. And then the restores can work very well to pull a file or the whole thing back as necessary.
And is there a free version or is it just the paid?
No, there's a total backup free, and that will work fine for you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
And Pat has had her hand up.
Oh, right. Yeah, I had to go do something, so I put it down and put it up again. But I had my main question, but listening to everybody else, I ended up with a couple others. So these might be quick, but I remember doing the startup menu back when I had the Dell. Now in the Apple, I've called several times, so this is kind of a Ross question. So is there I would assume there's a startup menu in Apple, but I've never been able to like access it. When I've called about it and asked, they said that there is none. Is that true?
No, there is when you go to log in on the computer, there's a list under settings when you click on the Apple that on login and it shows you some of the logins that are available. Exactly offhand, I can't say this is how you do it. Maybe Saul can direct you a little better on that.
Pat, are you asking if there's an equivalent on a Mac to the Windows Start button?
Yes.
No, start up. So what?
No, I believe she just said start, Ross. Did you say start?
Yeah. What's on your computer?
In other words, that lists all the applications that you can get to.
No, list all the applications that when you turn your computer on, it's on.
It's startup.
Yeah, startup. I would call it startup.
Which is it, Pat?
What's the difference?
One is programs that loaded startup when the operating system is booted up, and the other is just a list of applications that you can use while the computer is on.
Oh, the former.
So you want to know what starts up when the computer starts up?
Exactly.
Yes, you can go into preferences or system preferences or whatever they're calling them these days, settings on whatever Mac OS you have. You're talking about your Mac?
Right.
Okay, and then when you go into the users section, there's a section for log on, and in there it will list ones that might be starting up when the computer starts up. You can uncheck those or remove them.
Okay, I'll try that. Now the real question has to do with I'm doing my Quicken reports now, and I've done this for like years since I've gotten the Apple, and I have the Apple versions and all that sort of thing. But I'm having a problem with printing out the reports. I can no longer print out the one-page summary report. I can print out the details one where I get like 4 or 5 pages, which I don't want. That's the first printing problem. And then the second printing problem is that when I do print out the details, it won't let me not print in color. So I'm printing in red and all this other stuff. So I was wondering if anybody had an idea of what to do about that.
Are you using the print options from within Quicken?
I've tried every way to print. I know 3 ways to print. None of them worked.
So again, in Quicken, there is a function in there when you would select a report to say print, and then Quicken brings up a screen and shows you what it is you're going to print.
Right. Now, when I do that, it comes out 0. No matter what I do, it comes out 0. So I tried the Control P and, you know, all this other stuff.
That's the OS versions of the printing, and that's what I'm trying to get away from, to use only the ones within Quicken. Offhand, I don't know. I don't use Quicken, so I'm not familiar with those. I use QuickBooks, but if you've got the paid version of Quicken, which you should have now that you
No, this is like 2013. Yeah, I don't use it to pay anything. I have auto pay for all that. So I just use it like a checkbook kind of thing, and be able to do my reports at the end of the year. That's all.
Pat,
Yes.
are you able within Quicken to print a report as a PDF file, create a PDF file from it?
It is one of the options.
If you do that, then you could open it up in some program that can print a PDF file and you might succeed.
Okay.
it may give you the options to at least say, I don't want it to be in color, I want it to be in black and white. Because now it's being done through Adobe versus being done through Quicken or directly through the Apple operating system.
Okay, so I'll just, yeah, I've never used the PDF thing. I'll try the PDF, because right now I have to do screenshots and go all through that malarkey. So I don't like doing that, and I don't get exactly what I want. Okay. All right. Okay, I'll try that. Thank you very much. I do have another kind of a question, but when Alice was asking about ease, is that a backup that other people would have? Because we have Carbonite too for a backup, right?
Okay, so the Total Ease backup program is something that you would use to back up your computer to a local hard disk. So your equivalent in Mac is the Time Machine. That's what you should use, is to, I would have you get a new hard disk and do a new backup from Time Machine to that new hard disk. That's what, if you want to do that. Now, also for the Mac, you can then in your iCloud account, turn on backup and then use some of your storage space at iCloud for backing up your computer. That's a little more straightforward as far as getting information off the computer and then to a new computer. But you also have the free version of the Mac backup tool to back up to an external hard disk that you have on your computer, the Time Machine.
Okay. All right.
And Time Machine's relatively straightforward. If you have, I would say, again, get maybe a 2 terabyte external solid state drive. You plug it into the computer, then you open up Time Machine, and Time Machine says, oh, I find this drive over here. Can I take over the use of that drive for backups? And then I would say yes. And then when you do that, then the only thing that drive is good for is for a Time Machine backup. You can't use it as an additional storage location. Time Machine owns that drive, but then it will do all the backups for you automatically and compress them and get rid of old ones, and works a real good way to do a backup for a Mac.
Okay. I think I've got a Seagate thing here that I bought years ago. Well, I bought it at the same time I got the computer. So
I agree with you, but that's why I mentioned I would strongly recommend that you get a new backup drive that's much more reliable. If you have an older drive, a 4 or 5 year old drive, potential for that to fail is very high. If you buy a new solid state drive, it'll last a long time and be much quicker. And then you don't have to go through the question to say, what do you want me to do with the old information that's on this drive? And if you have a smaller backup drive, it may not be big enough to do the type of backups that you really want to do. So again, buying a new drive is how I would recommend.
Okay. And I think this is one of those ones from Costco that at the time had a lot of storage, but now it's gone.
Change.
Okay, good idea. Thank you.
Pat, I use Quicken a lot, and I'd be happy to stay on here after everybody else leaves and have a one-on-one session and show you how I use my reports at the end of the year for taxes and how I print them and how I save them and so forth.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you, Hank.
So just stick around when we finish. And
Okay.
anyone else who uses Quicken and wants to stick around too. Okay, Joan Edwards.
Yes, I'm on my Mac right now. And I just noticed that I have an iCloud Drive. Is iCloud Drive the same as iCloud?
It's in your iCloud account. iCloud is a storage, online storage facility that you can keep pictures, videos, all kinds of things up there. So Drive is just, it would be equivalent to say you have a Google Drive account. It's just a storage location.
So whatever is in my iCloud Drive is also in iCloud.
So iCloud is the parent. iCloud Drive is the secondary portion of that, just like it would say iCloud Photos. That's in a different area within iCloud.
So do I need it in both, those pictures in both?
It's one location.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm wondering. I just never noticed where it said iCloud Drive before. I use iCloud all the time, just iCloud.com. Okay.
I don't see any more hands. Nobody has any problems or questions or?
Just Stan, who is going to announce next week's meeting.
Yes, I would like to remind you of our next, thank you, Saul. Of next week's is a board meeting, and we have a couple items that have been added, and I have sent the agenda to the board members. If you have anything else you want to add, I might mention that some of the questions might involve referring to our bylaws. And I realized I did not have a copy, but through the efforts of Alice and Willie, I haven't managed to get a searchable PDF copy of the bylaws. And if you need a copy, let me know and I'll send it to you. But anyway, we have a meeting coming up next week. Looking forward to seeing you all there. And if we have a quorum present at the 10:30 time, I start the meeting.
Thank you.
And I'm one of the ones that put in a request for a new business item. And I think I would like to tell you all, because there's several board members here, so you can think about it. I have noticed that we've been dropping in membership steadily for the last 3 years. We haven't got Will's final for this year, and we may not be dropping much from last year, but the 2 years before that, we lost like a third of our membership each year. And I want to talk about ways that we might turn that around. It will involve places like the Wesley Palms and Frederica Manor and the one that's in La Jolla. But I think we ought to talk about it. Thank you. Okay, I'm ready to shift to let all those who don't have Quicken or aren't interested in Quicken to just click the red box on the right that says end or whatever it says, leave meeting. And you can disappear or you can hang around and Pat and I will talk.
I would like to stay. However, if I was to talk about Quicken, I would be concerned about a multiple number of people seeing my confidential information. If it is truly open to others, I'd be glad to stay and see what Hank does with Quicken. However, if the information is confidential, I think it should just be between Hank and Pat. So I just want clarification on that point between Pat and Hank. If you think that if you would be intimidated by having other people present when you're trying to get one-on-one help.
Thank you, Stanley. I'm looking at the people who are still here, and I'm not worried about you running off and trying to spend all my money. Because I'm
Okay.
not going to tell you how to get at the money, just how to get at the information.
All right, that's fine. But if I were to talk about Quicken, it would be hard for me. Anyway, I would also like Pat to concur that she would be willing to share her information.
Okay, well, it's just printing out the stuff. Well, Hank will be the one that will be showing it because I have my Quicken up on the other side of the screen, but you folks can't see it, only I can see that.
All right, fine. I just want both people's permission to stay.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for asking. I didn't even think of that, actually. Now I'm thinking of it, but yeah, I don't think I'll be sharing because he's gonna just show me how he does it. So it's Hank that's gonna have to, well, you can shorten your screen up so you can't see the numbers. Right?
That
Hank?
complicates it. If it's intimidating, I'll leave.
Thing for Hank. It's up to Hank. Hank, are you still there?
I'm trying to shut down my Quicken. There we go. I was stuck in Quicken on rats. Now, let's see if I can start Quicken again
Oh, wait a minute.
and oh, great. Quicken wants to update their program. They're downloading an update. So it's going to be a while, folks. Well, who knows how long.
Okay.
175 megabytes.
Well, the only thing I did for this problem, and I haven't had time to really look at it, was I did shut the computer down and then restart it. Now, the other idea that I had to correct the printing problem was to disengage the printer and then put it back on again. But I'll have to call Apple because I haven't done that in a few years, so I'm not totally sure how to do it.
You're using an Apple version of Quicken?
Yes.
Well, I can't help with that, but there are probably some serious. Mine is obviously a Windows version.
Right.
So
Well, the thing about it is Quicken works.
Let me show you what I do, and we'll see whether that helps you.
Okay.
But I've got to finish downloading and installing the update. The Quicken, it's still doing it.
Oh, okay.
Here we go. It's been successfully updated. Now I am going to have to start Quicken, and that means putting in my password.
Yeah, I already had to do that, and I've got the slowest computer in the world, so I know how that goes. But actually, I was going to try to see if that still is. I'm going to bring up.
Here we go. Hold on. Password. And the password is, bite your tongue, Henry.
Oh, this will help if I turn it on.
All right. Let's see if it starts where I want it to start, which is right at the basics. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to the Zoom meeting and share my screen. And I'm going to share the Google Quicken Classic Deluxe. And here we go. So I'm going to click OK. And now, when I print things out, I print reports. And the way are you seeing now, Pat, my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So what I do is go to reports. And then I go to my saved reports and graphs. And then I come down here to more saved reports and graphs. And I hope, uh-oh. Okay. And then I go to, let's say when I'm doing this, I usually am doing it for tax purposes. So for example, I have a report from Quicken, which is labeled charitable contributions for the year 2023. So if I then click on that and show the report, there are my charitable contributions for 2023. And now if I want to, and here they all are. So they are all on this drop-down screen of where I gave various amounts of money. You know, I'm a big dealer. Here's $5 I gave to charity. But it totaled up to a couple of grand. If I want to click print that, I can do 2 or 3 things. I can print it directly from here, or I can export it. And if I click the export, I can export to a PDF file or export it to text. And then, of course, once I've exported it to a PDF file, I can print that PDF file. Does that help you, Pat?
I think that might be what I might have to do. Right now, I'm going to try it again to see if shutting off the computer did anything. So far it didn't, because when I went to print, like Ross suggested, to print right from the Quicken thing, from the Quicken part, it comes out 0 pages for the summary. So, not even sure what it's going to do for the other one. But yeah, I'm going to try the PDF, because right now what I'm doing is taking a screenshot and then you have to open it up and print it that way. You know, but it's like it takes, instead of hitting Control P and having it print out, you have to go through this step, that step, and the other step to get to your, and then you've got it strewn all over your, it's not in one place, it's kind of strewn all over, your desktop. But yeah, I'm going to try that. Thank you, Hank. I'm going to try that one.
I would go to reports, and then when you get to the particular reports you want to print, you have a choice of exporting it to a PDF file and printing from there. My PDF files open as a new tab in Chrome.
Now, when I do, okay, I just did that because I've got my one report up on the short one. And it says export to CSV file or copy to clipboard. And I have no idea about any clipboard. I don't know what the clipboard is.
Well, clipboard is just your normal place where you copy things. If you highlight something on a document and then type Control+C, that puts whatever you highlighted on your clipboard. So then you can go to a new document and click in the center of a blank document and type Control+V for Victor, and it will put what was on your clipboard onto that new document. So that's what your clipboard is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, is that the same in a PC as in an Apple, do you think? You're doing it from a PC, right?
I'm not sure that the orders are exactly the same, but it's the same thing as if you highlighted something and then right-clicked and click copy.
Okay.
Clicking copy is the same as typing Control+C in Windows.
Right. Yeah, it's the same.
Anybody on here is a Mac person and can answer that?
No, it's the same. You're right.
Okay.
Control+C, Control+V. Yeah, that still works.
All right. I think that's all I can offer.
Okay, well, I think that should get me going on this thing.
And I
But-
didn't give away my $27 million location.
Oh, darn.
So
Okay.
Stanley, if you're still here, don't worry, man. All right, thank you all. I think it's now time to close the Zoom meeting.
All right. Thank you. Thank
See you
you.
next week.
All right. Bye-bye.